2020 draft just finished, and as teams look forward to training camp to build chemistry among them, there's a lingering question behind every player they picked. Is he gonna be an integral part of our success, or is he just gonna be a bust? The higher a player gets picked, let's say in the first round, the higher probabilities of him making the team, the higher probabilities of him being a starter, being a star, and also being a Hall of Famer. The stats back this up, but being a higher selection also means higher expectations in less amount of time. You could think that selecting one of the best 32 players available would be easy, but history has shown us that is definitely not the case. Obviously, letting alone the fact of picking players in the second, third, fourth round, and so on. If you think about it, experts, coaches, even the fans put more emphasis on the first round than any other round. That's why it's the only one that gets its own separate day in TV transmissions. We normally receive thousands of mock drafts leading to draft day, and all we do is talk about these uber talented players. Granted, their weaknesses are also mentioned, but we normally focus on how good of a player each team gets. Yes, there's gonna be controversial picks, but as long as it's in the first round and they pick a player who was ranked as a first rounder, he's gonna be praised, and even with a divided fan base or not, there's gonna be a lot of people excited for his potential. Now, like I said, we have seen a lot of underdog stories, late rounders, undrafted players becoming stars in this league and even Hall of Fame later on, but let's focus on these first 32 players that are quote-unquote can't miss talent. The average career years for an NFL player is 3.3 years, so technically making it out of your rookie deal would be partially a success. But these are first rounders that we're talking about. First of all, the 5th-year option is normally a good standard to measure if a team really wanted that player to stay with them or not. This normally means that they were a good contributor. We are going to use that and other factors to analyze every single pick from that draft. Okay, here we go. Well, we start off with a tricky one. Jadeveon Clowney did get his 5th-year option pick, but entering last season, his 6th, he was traded to the Seattle Seahawks. Look, I'll count him as a success. He's definitely a star in this league, but I will definitely argue that he has never met his potential, and he's definitely not a first overall pick in my mind. Next up, Greg Robinson didn't even last 4 seasons with the Rams, and he has been jumping around through the league. Right now, he's more of a backup than a starter. Next up, Blake Bortles, that's another tricky one. He did play for 5 years for the Jaguars and sometimes flashed potential, even taking them to the AFC Championship in 2017, but he collapsed after that and now he's only a backup with the Rams. After that, we got Sammy Watkins. Once again, definitely a star in this league, probably not worth the 4th overall pick, but even though he's making really good plays with the Kansas City Chiefs, I wouldn't count him as a successful pick for the Bills, where he only played 3 years and was really inconsistent. Khalil Mack, definitely a star, successful pick. Even though he's not with the team anymore, he got traded for a lot of valuable draft picks. Next up, Jake Matthews, a so-so pick, but he's going for the 7th year with the team and he's a starter. Mike Evans, easy one of the best receivers in the game and still in Tampa Bay, ready to catch some passes from Tom Brady. Justin Gilbert, total bust. He got traded away after 2 seasons, never fully reached his potential. He was out of the league after 3. Next up, Anthony Barr, solid pickup, and he has been an instrumental key for success for that defense. Eric Ebron, a really similar pick to the Sammy Watkins one. He has flourished in another team later on in his career, but he really only played 4 years for the Lions and he didn't contribute a lot. They didn't even get a lot of draft capital back after trading him. Taylor Lewan, one of today's elite offensive tackles, an easy hit. Odell Beckham Jr., even though he was just traded after his 5th year to the Cleveland Browns, there's no denying his talent, and he's definitely one of the top receivers right now. Great pick. Aaron Donald, another superstar. Easy pick to analyze. He's a walking Hall of Famer. Kyle Fuller, he has shown a lot of bright spots and a lot of weaknesses throughout the years, but he's still a solid corner and he's still a starter with the Bears. Ryan Shazier, unfortunate set of events, he was poised to be a breakout player and probably one of the top inside linebackers of the league, but he suffered a spinal cord injury and he hasn't played since. Even though he was a great player. From the business side of things, he only played 4 years, so for the sake of this exercise, we'll count that as a miss. Next up, Zach Martin. Another easy pick, another elite offensive tackle. CJ Mosley. He only played 5 years for the Ravens, but he was elite there to a point where his price tag was too much for them, so he decided to move on and now he's with the Jets. Calvin Pryor, total bust. Got cut from the team after 3 years. Jawan James. I wouldn't have picked him in the first round, and even though he did play 5 years for the Dolphins, he did miss a lot of games due to injuries. That's a miss for me. Brandon Cooks. Even though he has been traded to multiple teams, he has been traded for first rounders. He has been a consistent 1,000-yard receiver. Haha Clinton Dix. Even though a reliable starter in the league, he has never truly reached his potential. He was traded away midway through his 5th season. Johnny Manziel or Johnny Football. Total bust and waste of talent. He liked to party a lot and he was only in the league for 2 years. D Ford. One of the best rushers now in the game. A solid pickup for the Chiefs at the time, who later on earned them good value when he was traded to the 49ers. Derquez Denard. He did play his first 6 years with the Bengals, but he never started more than 9 games. Injuries have affected his career and that's not what you want from a first rounder. Exactly the same case with Jason Barrett, but in his case he didn't even get to the 5th year with the team. Marcus Smith, bust. He's a simple backup in the league and he didn't even last 3 years with the team. Dion Buchanan, a once promising inside linebacker, played 5 years for the Cardinals but injuries derailed his seasons. He has been bouncing around with teams ever since. Kelvin Benjamin. He showed promise with his first season before getting injured in his second one. By his fourth one, he was traded away. He never got a hold of his weight issues. Dominic Easley, reliable backup at best. He just lasted 2 seasons with the Patriots. Jimmy Ward, thought as a bust, now he's an integral part of the 49ers and their recent success. Bradley Roby, a solid cornerback who was part of their Super Bowl 50 win. Just like CJ Mosley, he played well and asked for more money elsewhere. To wrap this up, Teddy Bridgewater. Just like Ryan Shazier, he was poised to be a great player, but a bad injury kept him away from the game. He came back and now he's about to be the starter for the Carolina Panthers, but that would still be a miss for the Vikings. As a summary, we got 15 successful picks out of 32. Now, this really surprised me. According to an article by the Riot Report made in 2018, it documented the fact that since 2011, out of 223 first-round picks, excluding obviously the past few rounds because we don't have enough time to measure that right now, they state that taking an average of 5 years or more in the league as successful, that success rate ponders between 47% and 53% every year. And guess what? In the analysis we just did out of the 2014 draft, we got pretty much a 47% success rate. Of course, with some of my unique changes. That just means that in the highest regarded NFL recruiting event, that draft round that should be full of talent and stars and future Hall of Famers, we were talking about a coin flip and we didn't even dive into the other rounds. So if you just watch the 2020 draft, don't get too excited. Don't hear this dumb grading system right now. Wait for a couple of years and the real stars are gonna come out and play. Doesn't matter if they're first rounders or undrafted.